The blood-stained stares and Elliot Ness's fight for justice made The Untouchables a 1987 masterpiece. But for the cast, the real horror began after the credits rolled. The same actors who brought justice to life were later shadowed by domestic violence allegations and hidden addictions buried for decades. Brace yourself for the darkest revelations, because the truth behind these untouchable legends is even more haunting than the crimes they once fought. Sean Connery as Jim Malone. Sean Connery was born on August 25, 1930, in Edinburgh, Scotland. At 57 years old, he played Jim Malone, the seasoned Irish-American police officer in The Untouchables. His performance gave the story its moral weight and transforming Malone into a symbol of sacrifice and justice. It was this role that earned Connery his only Academy Award and cemented the film's dramatic impact against Al Capone's criminal empire. His personal life was far from the heroic image he projected on screen. Connery married Australian actress Diane Cilento in 1962, and they had a son, Jason Connery, before divorcing in 1973 after years of conflict. The marriage was often described as turbulent, marked by emotional distance and later public accusations from Cilento that damaged Connery's reputation for a time. After the divorce, he later found stability with French-Moroccan artist Micheline Roquebrune, whom he married in 1975, and remained with her for the rest of his life despite earlier rumors and scandals during the 1980s. During that time, he had built one of the most legendary careers in cinema history. From being the first James Bond in Dr. No, 1962, to acclaimed films like The Name of the Rose, 1986, and The Hunt for Red October, 1990. However, in his later years, Connery's health gradually declined as he developed dementia, a condition that slowly affected his memory and withdrawal from public life. Sean Connery passed away on October 31, 2020 in the Bahamas at the age of 90, dying peacefully in his sleep. His net worth was estimated at around $350 million, accumulated through decades of global stardom and film success. Even in death, his legacy remains deeply tied to both James Bond and Jim Malone, two roles that defined different sides of his acting identity and left an enduring mark on film history. Robert De Niro as Al Capone. Robert De Niro was born on the 17th of August, 1943, in New York City, USA. At 44 years old, he played Al Capone, the powerful and unpredictable crime boss in the movie. His performance brought an unsettling realism to the film, portraying Capone not just as a gangster, but as a man of paranoia and control, elevating the tension between law enforcement and organized crime. De Niro's personal life has often been shaped by complex relationships and emotional strain rather than tragedy or illness. He married actress Diane Abbott in 1976, and the couple had a son, Raphael, before divorcing in 1988. He also adopted Abbott's daughter, Drina. Later, he was in a long relationship with Toukie Smith, with whom he had twins via surrogacy in 1995. His marriage to Grace Hightower in 1997 became one of his most publicly difficult relationships, marked by separation, reconciliation, and a prolonged divorce process that forced him to continue working extensively even in later age to manage financial obligations and legal disputes. Alongside his personal struggles, De Niro has faced significant health challenges, most notably a prostate cancer diagnosis in 2003, which required surgery but was successfully treated. Despite this, he never slowed down professionally. His career continued to expand with powerful performances in films such as Goodfellas, 1990, Casino, 1995, and later The Irishman, 2019, as well as Killers of the Flower Moon, 2023. As of 2026, Robert De Niro is 83 years old and still active in film and television, working as both an actor and producer. His net worth is estimated at around $500 million, built through decades of iconic roles and production ventures. Today, he remains a living legend of Hollywood, known for his intensity, discipline, and an unmatched career that continues to influence generations of actors worldwide. Brad Sullivan, as George Brad Sullivan, was born on November 18, 1931, in Chicago, Illinois, USA. At 56 years old, he played George, a mafia associate in The Untouchables. His role helped reinforce the inner structure of Al Capone's criminal network, adding weight to the film's depiction of organized crime and strengthening the tension between the federal investigation and the people operating inside Capone's world. However, his emotional journey in Hollywood was shaped by the pressure. After serving in the Korean War, he moved into acting and built his reputation slowly through stage work before breaking into film with The Sting, 1973. That role opened the door to more prominent supporting work, including Slapshot, 1977, showing how often he was drawn into intense, physically charged characters. As his career continued, Sullivan balanced film and stage, appearing in The Abyss, 1989, as a naval officer dealing with a dangerous deep-sea mission, and later in The Prince of Tides, 1991, as Henry Wingo. These roles highlighted his strength in portraying men shaped by pressure, authority, and emotional distance, even when the screen time was limited. Brad Sullivan passed away on December 31, 2008 at the age of 77 due to liver cancer. His net worth was estimated at $2 million. He is still remembered in The Untouchables as George, helping complete the dark ecosystem surrounding Capone's empire. Kevin Costner as Eliot Ness. Kevin Costner was born on January 18, 1955 in Linwood, California, and grew up in Compton, USA. At 32 years old, he played Eliot Ness, the idealistic federal agent leading the fight against Al Capone in the movie. His performance portrayed Ness as a man of integrity pushed into a brutal war between justice and corruption, anchoring the entire narrative with quiet determination. Costner's personal life has often been shaped by emotional turbulence in marriage and the pressure of Hollywood fame. He was married to Cindy Silva in 1978, and they had 3 children before divorcing in 1994 after 16 years together, a separation widely linked to alleged infidelity during the filming of Waterworld. The divorce became one of Hollywood's most expensive at the time, reportedly costing around $80 million. Later, he had a son with Bridget Rooney and eventually married Christine Baumgartner in 2004, with whom he had 3 children before another highly publicized divorce process began in 2023, marked by disputes over custody and financial arrangements. After the massive success of Dances with Wolves, 1990, which won 7 Academy Awards including Best Picture and Best Director for him, he faced a dramatic downturn with the box office failure of Waterworld, 1995. Despite this, he rebuilt his career through films like The Bodyguard, 1992, and Open Range, 2003, eventually finding a new peak decades later with television success. As of 2026, Kevin Costner is 71 years old and continues working as an actor, director, and musician. His estimated net worth is around $250 million, built through decades of filmmaking, producing, and his recent resurgence with Yellowstone. Today, he remains active in the industry, balancing new creative projects such as Horizon, an American saga, while maintaining his legacy as one of Hollywood's most enduring storytellers. Clifton James as District Attorney. Clifton James was born on May 29, 1920, in Spokane, Washington, USA. At 66 years old, he played the district attorney in The Untouchables, 1987. His character represented the formal legal authority working alongside Eliot Ness, helping establish the courtroom and government side of the fight against Al Capone's organization. James's life was strongly shaped by his early marriage and long family commitments. He married Lori Harper in 1951, and the marriage lasted until her death in 2015, raising 5 children together. Alongside family life, his career expanded steadily through both film and television, and his most famous breakthrough came earlier as Sheriff J.W. Pepper in Live and Let Die, 1973, and The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974, becoming one of the most recognizable supporting characters in the James Bond franchise. Beyond comedy, James often portrayed strict authority figures shaped by discipline and experience. In Cool Hand Luke, 1967, he played Carr, while in Silver Streak, 1976, he appeared as a law enforcement officer involved in a train investigation. He also portrayed Charles Comiskey in 8 Men Out, 1988, showing his range in historical and institutional roles. Clifton James passed away on April 15, 2017, at the age of 96 due to complications from diabetes. His net worth was estimated at $2 million. He is remembered in The Untouchables as the district attorney, the voice of legal authority within the story's justice system, completing the layered structure of law that stands against organized crime. Andy Garcia as George Stone. Andy Garcia was born on April 12, 1956, in Havana, Cuba, and moved with his family to Miami after fleeing the political upheaval in Cuba. At 31 years old, he played George Stone, the rookie Irish-American FBI agent in The Untouchables. His role added emotional depth and vulnerability to the team, representing the transformation of an inexperienced recruit into a determined law enforcer under the guidance of Eliot Ness. Garcia's personal life has been remarkably stable compared to many Hollywood peers. He married Marivi Laredo in 1982, and together they raised 4 children. He maintained a strong family foundation while balancing a demanding Hollywood career. His commitment to family values sometimes limited his participation in more controversial or explicit roles, but it also reinforced his reputation as one of Hollywood's more grounded figures. However, his real challenges came from displacement and rebuilding life after exile. Arriving in the United States as a child refugee, he grew up in Miami and had to rebuild identity and stability from scratch. That background shaped his discipline and persistence, which later carried him through a steady career in films such as The Godfather Part 3, 1990, and Ocean's 11, 2001, along with acclaimed television and producing work. As of 2026, Andy Garcia is 70 years old and continues to work as an actor, director, and producer. His net worth is estimated at around $20 million, earned through decades of consistent roles in Hollywood and independent productions. He remains active in film while maintaining a private family life, often seen as a symbol of stability and longevity in an industry known for volatility. Billy Drago as Frank Nitti. Billy Drago was born on November 30, 1945 in Hugoton, Kansas, USA. At 42 years old, he played Frank Nitti, the ruthless enforcer of Al Capone in the movie. His role intensified the film's atmosphere of fear and unpredictability, turning Nitti into a silent but deadly force that made Capone's world feel even more dangerous and unstable. That intimidating screen image came from a career built slowly through small, dark roles. He became closely associated with villain characters in films like Cutter's Way and Clint Eastwood's Pale Rider, 1985. That same energy later followed him into television, especially in The X-Files and Charmed, where his character Barbas became so popular that he kept returning far beyond a single appearance. As his screen identity became more defined, Drago continued working steadily across film and television, but he also faced the challenge of being typecast because of his unique appearance and unsettling on-screen style. This limitation pushed him into roles across different formats, from music videos like Michael Jackson's You Rock My World to horror anthologies such as Masters of Horror. That long career eventually slowed in his later years, especially as his personal life shifted after the passing of his wife, actress Silvana Gallardo, in 2012, a loss that deeply affected him and led to a quieter lifestyle. Billy Drago passed away on June 24, 2019 in Los Angeles at the age of 73 due to complications from a stroke. His net worth was estimated at around $1.5 million US. Charles Martin Smith as Oscar Wallace. Charles Martin Smith was born on October 30th, 1953, in Van Nuys, California, USA. At 34 years old, he played Oscar Wallace, the Treasury agent in The Untouchables. His character became a crucial part of the story because Wallace was the one who uncovered the tax trail that finally exposed Al Capone, shifting the entire fight from street violence into a legal battle. His early career moved through a series of quiet but steady roles, starting with American Graffiti, 1973, followed by The Buddy Holly Story, 1978, which strengthened his reputation as a strong supporting actor. As his career continued, he often found himself cast in similar intellectual outsider roles, which gradually shaped his decision to move toward directing. That shift opened a new chapter for him in Trick or Treat, 1986, and Air Bud, 1997. While his acting continued in projects such as Deep Cover, 1992, and The Band Played On, 1993, where he played a doctor facing the early AIDS crisis, his attention increasingly leaned toward directing and storytelling from behind the camera. This balance allowed him to rebuild his artistic identity, leading to respected works like The Snow Walker, 2003, and later Dolphin Tale, 2011. As of 2026, Charles Martin Smith is 73 years old and continues working mainly as a director and writer while living between Canada and the United States. His net worth is estimated at around $5 million US. He is still remembered in The Untouchables as Oscar Wallace. Richard Bradford as Mike Dorset. Richard Bradford was born on November 10, 1934, in Tyler, Texas, USA. At 53 years old, he played Mike Dorset, a law enforcement officer in The Untouchables. His character added structure to the federal side of the investigation, reinforcing the organized effort behind Eliot Ness's mission against Al Capone. Behind this steady screen presence was a career shaped by both stage discipline and television breakthroughs, but also by increasing tension between his strong personality and the demands of Hollywood productions. After gaining international recognition in Man in a Suitcase, 1967 to 1968, he moved between film and television, appearing in The Missouri Breaks, 1976, as a ranch worker caught in a violent land conflict, and later in The Trip to Bountiful, 1985, as a state officer, continuing his pattern of portraying firm, authoritative men. That same intensity that defined his roles also made his professional path uneven at times, as long working gaps appeared between major projects due to both industry competition and personal friction on set. Even so, he maintained a presence in notable productions, such as the miniseries America and the crime drama Hoodlum, where he again returned to portraying structured authority figures operating under pressure. Richard Bradford passed away on March 22, 2016, at the age of 82 in Los Angeles after a long battle with lung cancer. His net worth was estimated at around $1 million US. His career remains a portrait of a rugged, uncompromising actor whose performances consistently brought weight and realism to every story he entered. Patricia Clarkson as Catherine Ness. Patricia Clarkson was born on December 29, 1959, in New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. At 28 years old, she played Catherine Ness, the wife of Eliot Ness in The Untouchables. Her role may have been brief, but it added emotional weight to the story, showing the quiet tension and personal distance created by Ness's obsession with bringing down Al Capone. Her career developed step by step through a long series of supporting and dramatic roles, starting with appearances in films like The Green Mile, 1999, where she gained wider recognition, and later Far From Heaven, 2002, which positioned her as a serious dramatic presence in Hollywood. That momentum led to Pieces of April, 2003, where her performance as a cancer-stricken mother brought her an Academy Award nomination and marked a turning point in how she was viewed within the industry. Rather than following a traditional personal life path, Clarkson chose a life centered on independence, openly accepting that marriage and children were not part of her journey. That decision sometimes placed her against social expectations, but it also gave her space to fully dedicate herself to acting. She later expanded into television with powerful performances in Sharp Objects, 2018, and House of Cards. As of 2026, Patricia Clarkson is 67 years old and continues to work actively in film, television, and theater, moving between independent projects and major productions. Her net worth is estimated at around $3 million. Del Close as Alderman. Del Close was born on March 9, 1934, in Manhattan, Kansas, USA. At 53 years old, he played Alderman John O'Shea in The Untouchables. His role added a political dimension to the story, showing how corruption in Chicago did not only exist on the streets, but also quietly extended into city government, giving Al Capone's empire a deeper sense of protection from within the system. His personal and professional life was marked by instability that often came from addiction and the unpredictable nature of his career path. During his years working in Chicago's Second City environment, substance abuse repeatedly disrupted his work, leading to breakdowns in professional relationships. Even so, he continued shaping modern comedy through improv, becoming a key figure behind institutions like Improv Olympic and influencing generations of performers. Around this time, he also contributed to projects such as Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986, where his presence reflected his connection to Chicago's creative scene. As his life progressed, Close's struggles with addiction deepened, especially during the height of his influence as a comedy teacher and mentor. The death of his student John Belushi became a turning point, pushing him toward change. In the years that followed, he distanced himself from drugs and began exploring spirituality through Wicca, which he credited as part of his effort to regain balance. Despite his personal battles, he continued teaching improv and shaping the structure of modern comedic performance through workshops and theatrical experimentation. Del Close passed away on March 4, 1999 in Chicago at the age of 64 from emphysema, just days before his 65th birthday. His net worth was modest, reflecting a life devoted more to influence than commercial success. In The Untouchables, his brief role as alderman remains a sharp reminder of the political corruption quietly embedded inside the system that allowed crime to survive and thrive. Robert Swan as Mountie Captain. Robert Swan was born on October 20, 1944, in Chicago, Illinois, USA. At 43 years old, he played the Mountie Captain in The Untouchables, 1987. His role showed how Eliot Ness's mission against Al Capone extended beyond local enforcement and into a broader network of law and order. His personal and professional life reflected a constant balancing act between artistic ambition and the reality of supporting himself through smaller film roles. Swan built a steady career in supporting parts across major films such as Hoosiers, 1986, and Backdraft, 1991. Alongside acting, he also pursued opera and stage direction, even founding a small opera company in Michigan, which reflected his deep commitment to classical performance arts. This dual path, however, created long-term tension in his career, as he often moved between commercial Hollywood projects and more personal artistic work. While films like Natural Born Killers, 1994, and The Babe, 1992, kept him visible in cinema, his passion for opera and theater sometimes pulled him away from more stable screen opportunities. That contrast defined much of his life, as he continued searching for a balance between artistic fulfillment and practical survival in the entertainment industry. Robert Swan passed away on August 9, 2023, at the age of 78, due to liver cancer at his home in Indiana. His net worth was modest, estimated at $2 million. His role symbolized how the pursuit of justice in the story stretched far beyond a single city or jurisdiction. Jack Kehoe as Walter Payne. Jack Kehoe was born on November 21, 1934, in Astoria, New York, USA. At 53 years old, he played Walter Payne in The Untouchables, 1987. His role contributed to the film's network of law enforcement and criminal informants, helping expand the sense of a city where justice and corruption constantly overlapped. Kehoe's personal life was shaped more by long-term stability than public drama, especially through his decades-long relationship with his partner Sherry Smith, with whom he lived for around 40 years. They did not have children, and he lived a quiet life away from Hollywood attention, especially in his later years. That stability, however, contrasted with a career built on playing morally gray or criminal figures, which became his signature screen identity. His acting career developed steadily through a series of acclaimed films that defined his reputation as a reliable character actor. He appeared in Serpico, 1973, The Sting, 1973, as Joe Erie, and later Car Wash, 1976, building a strong presence in crime and drama films. He also appeared in The Pope of Greenwich Village, 1984, and later Midnight Run, 1988, continuing his pattern of playing men connected to the underworld or urban tension. Jack Kehoe passed away on January 14, 2020 in Hollywood Hills at the age of 85 after suffering a stroke. His net worth was estimated at around $1 to $2 million US. In The Untouchables, his role as Walter Payne stands as part of the film's larger mosaic of criminals and officials, helping shape a world where every character feels tied into the same fragile system of power and survival. Vito D'Ambrosio as Bowtie Driver. Vito D'Ambrosio was born on December 29th in Taranto, Puglia, Italy. At 30 years old, he played the Bowtie Driver in The Untouchables. Although the role is brief, it fits perfectly into the film's tense atmosphere, representing the everyday machinery of Chicago's criminal world. His life story carries the quiet determination of someone shaped by constant movement and adaptation. After moving from Italy to Chicago as a child, he was drawn to theater during high school and quickly became involved in stage production and acting. That early passion led him into performances in plays such as Rebel Without a Cause adaptations and various competitive theater productions, where he developed the foundation of his acting style. His breakthrough came when Brian De Palma cast him in The Untouchables, connecting him directly to major Hollywood filmmaking and opening doors to television and film work in both Los Angeles and New York. From there, his career stayed closely tied to supporting roles in crime dramas and procedural storytelling. Alongside screen work, he continued his first passion for theater, maintaining a connection to stage performance while appearing in smaller television projects over the years. This balance between film and theater became the core of his artistic identity rather than chasing mainstream stardom. As of 2026, Vito D'Ambrosio is 69 years old and continues to live between New York and occasional acting projects, taking selective roles in smaller productions while maintaining a quieter professional rhythm. His net worth is modest, estimated in the low millions. That's the story of The Untouchables, 1987. Cast, then and now. From rising stars to Hollywood legends, their journeys took very different paths, filled with success, struggle, and unforgettable performances that still define cinema today. So what surprised you the most about how their lives turned out after the film? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more then and now stories like this.